I never thought I'd be sharing this, but here goes. I'm Daniel, 28, a freelance graphic designer. My family, the Millers, are a lot. Think upper middle class, obsessed with appearances, and Sarah-centric. Sarah's my older sister, 32, and basically the golden child. She's engaged to Brad, this ridiculously wealthy businessman who I swear is a walking red flag. My parents, divorced, remarried, and both new partners seem to dislike me. I've always been the black sheep, never quite measuring up to Sarah's perfection. The seating arrangement at the engagement party basically confirmed it, though, or I guess the lack of seating arrangement for me did. I wasn't even invited. How's that for family? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. It wasn't even a formal announcement, more like a casual drop from my cousin Emily. Hey, are you even coming to the after party? The text read, I frowned. After party? Yeah, she texted back. Sarah and Brad are renting out that club downtown. Should be fun. Table assignments are gonna be lit. My stomach dropped to my knees. Table assignments. I hadn't received an invite for any after party, let alone the actual party. I checked my spam folder. Nothing. Maybe it got lost in the mail. But then Emily sent a screenshot of the seating chart. Rows and rows of names meticulously organized. Sarah, Brad, Mom, David, stepdad, Dad, Carol, stepmom, even Emily and her boyfriend Kyle. My name, nowhere. I wasn't on the list. My hands trembled so badly I had to set my phone down. A cold wave washed over me. Was this some kind of joke? I called Sarah, straight to voicemail. I texted her, hey, is everything okay? Just wondering about the party. No response. Later, I overheard Mom talking to Carol in the bathroom. The walls are paper thin in the hotel. Daniel will be fine. He knows this is about Sarah and Brad. He can watch TV or something. You know how he gets. He can be such a distraction, especially when he's drinking, Carol replied. Brad's investors will all be there. This isn't about you, they always say. You're making a big deal out of nothing. My chest tightened until I could barely breathe. Was I really that disruptive, that unwanted? The words echoed in my head, a familiar refrain. After everything we've done for you, you need to think about what's best for the family, Daniel, not just yourself. Suddenly, it hit me. This wasn't just about the party. It was about everything. The constant comparisons to Sarah, the subtle digs about my career, the way they always seemed to side with Brad, even when he was being a blatant jerk. It was a pattern, a carefully orchestrated campaign to erase me from their perfect little world. And I, like an idiot, had been playing along, hoping for a seat at a table that was never meant for me. The hurt was profound, but beneath it, a flicker of anger ignited. I couldn't stay. I wouldn't, that much was clear. Quietly, I slipped out of the hotel and went home. My phone buzzed incessantly the next morning. Mom, Dad, even Carol, I ignored them all. Finally, Sarah called. I hesitated, then answered. Daniel, what the hell? Her voice was sharp, brittle. Everyone's freaking out. You just left. Yeah, Sarah, I left, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I wasn't exactly feeling welcomed. What are you talking about? Of course you were welcome, you're my brother. Oh, really? Because the seating chart said otherwise. I guess I'm just chopped liver, not good enough to sit at the cool table. Don't be ridiculous, Daniel, it's not about that. Brad's investors were there. We needed to make a good impression. You know how sensitive he is to criticism. Why are you bringing this up now? My heart pounded like a drum against my ribs. Deflection, always. So I'm a liability now, is that it? Nobody said that. Why do you always have to make everything about you? We're family, we should support each other. Guilt trip, check. Support, you mean blindly agree with everything Brad says and does, act like I don't exist. You're exaggerating, you weren't excluded, we were going to find you a seat. Oh, really? When? After dessert, my voice rose, I couldn't help it. The text message I got from Emily made it clear the invitation was an oversight. Extras are easily removed, I thought. Emily shouldn't have texted you that. She's always got to stir the pot, I swear. It was an honest mistake. Gaslighting, my face burned with humiliation. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. An honest mistake that conveniently left me out. Come on, Sarah, I'm not stupid. Everyone has problems, you're not special. We're all stressed out. You know, planning a wedding is hard. Can't you just be happy for me? Happy? You want me to be happy while you and Brad treat me like I'm invisible. I'm genuinely concerned for you and you treat me like trash. My throat closed up, words trapped inside. You're just jealous, that's what this is. You're jealous of Brad, of my happiness. That stung. I wanted to defend myself, to tell her how wrong she was, but the words wouldn't come. My throat was too tight. You know what, Sarah, I'm done. The words came out as a whisper. I'm done trying to fit into your perfect little world. Fine, then leave, see if I care. She hung up. Silence. The weight of her words settled on me, crushing me. I felt a wave of nausea. Had I ruined everything? Was I really just a jealous, bitter loser? But deep down, a tiny spark flickered. Maybe, just maybe, I didn't deserve this. The following weekend, Mom called again. I'd screened her calls all week, letting them go to voicemail. But this time she left a message that made my stomach clench. Daniel, it's your mother. I know you're upset, but this is ridiculous. I'm hosting a family dinner Sunday at 6. It's important that you're here. Brad's parents are in town, and it would mean a lot to Sarah. Don't make this harder than it already is. I sighed. Brad's parents. That meant maximum pressure to perform, to be the normal brother who wasn't causing any trouble. The thought of spending an evening with them, enduring their polite but condescending questions about my little design business, made my skin crawl. But Mom's, it would mean a lot to Sarah, was a calculated move. It always worked. Sunday arrived like a slow-motion train wreck. As I drove to Mom's meticulously landscaped house, I replayed past family dinners in my head. The forced smiles, the awkward silences, the veiled criticisms disguised as concern. Why was I still putting myself through this? The answer was always the same: guilt. The ingrained belief that family, no matter how dysfunctional, deserved your unwavering loyalty. When I walked in, the air was thick with forced cheer. Sarah greeted me with a tight hug that didn't quite reach her eyes. Brad clapped me on the shoulder, his smile too wide, too practiced. Daniel, good to see you, man. Glad you could make it. Wouldn't miss it, I replied, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. Brad's parents, impeccably dressed and radiating wealth, offered polite nods. Daniel, is it? Sarah's told us so much about you, his mother said, her voice laced with a subtle curiosity, like she was trying to figure out what kind of specimen I was. Dinner was a minefield of passive-aggressive comments and thinly veiled jabs. So Daniel, still playing around with those graphics? David, my stepdad, asked, his tone suggesting that my career was nothing more than a hobby. It's how I make a living, I replied, trying to keep my voice even. Of course, dear, Carol chimed in, but Sarah's doing so well with Brad's company. It's so wonderful when you can build a legacy. Brad's father decided to chime in. Brad was telling us about how you left Sarah's engagement party. She was very upset that you left. A tension headache began to throb behind my eyes. I felt a familiar urge to flee, to disappear into the night. Then Mom launched into a sentimental story about Sarah and me as children, how we used to be inseparable. Remember when Daniel would always follow Sarah around? He was so protective of her. The implication was clear. I was now failing my sister, betraying our childhood bond. I stared at my plate, the food suddenly unappetizing. It was all so manipulative, so calculated. So Daniel, Sarah said, her voice saccharine sweet, Brad and I were thinking maybe you could design the wedding programs. You know, as a family contribution, it would mean so much to us. It wasn't a request. It was a demand disguised as an olive branch, and everyone at the table was watching me, waiting for my response. My stomach churned. I wanted to scream, to tell them all to leave me alone, but I couldn't, not yet. Instead, I took a deep breath and forced a smile. I'm actually working on another project at the moment, I said, my voice surprisingly steady, so I won't be able to make the wedding programs. The silence was deafening. Sarah's smile faltered. Brad's eyebrows furrowed. I could feel their disappointment, their disapproval. But for the first time, I didn't care. A small boundary. The next day, Jake called. Usually, I avoided talking to my cousins about family drama, but after the disastrous dinner, I was desperate for someone to talk to. Hey man, Jake said, his voice low. Heard things got a little intense at the engagement party. I sighed. Intense is an understatement. I think I officially became persona non grata. Yeah, Sarah was in tears afterward. Caleb was furious. I braced myself for the lecture, the "you need to apologize" speech, but it didn't come. "Look, Daniel," Jake continued, "I know our family can be a lot, and you've always been like the elephant in the room." "The elephant in the room," I repeated, surprised. "Yeah, the one everyone pretends isn't there but everyone's aware of." I hesitated. "I don't know what to say." "Say whatever you want, it's okay." "Look, I never thought I'd be sharing this, but here goes. It's just, they never really seemed to like me." There was a pause. "That's actually not normal family behavior, Daniel," he continued. "It's just I've always felt like an outsider." "Daniel, I've always got your back, right? I think I know how you feel." I chuckled humorlessly. "Yeah, well, thanks. It's nice to hear someone say it." "I didn't call to make you feel better, though. I called to let you know, well, what happened at the dinner." "What dinner?" "The dinner with Brad's parents. Apparently you were quite the topic of conversation." My stomach dropped. "Oh, great, just what I needed." "Apparently Sarah said you were being difficult." "Difficult," I thought to myself. "And Brad's dad apparently made a comment about your career. It was pretty condescending." "That's manipulative, right?" He paused. "If anyone else treated you that way, would you accept it?" "No," I said quietly. "No, I wouldn't. You deserve to be treated with basic respect, Daniel, and honestly, I don't think Sarah and Brad are giving you that. It's just, I don't know, I always thought it was me, that I was the one who was messed up." "That's what they want you to think," Jake said, his voice firm. "It's easier to blame you than to acknowledge their own issues." I paused, stunned. "Wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. I know you are scared for Sarah, but you did what you had to do." "I can't believe how blind I've been," I mumbled. "I know, man, it's hard to see when you're in the middle of it, but you're not crazy. Your feelings are valid. It's about the larger issues within the family. About the subtle ways they control everything, the expectations, the pressure to conform." "Yes, exactly," I exclaimed, relief washing over me. "It's a breaking point. You can't keep doing this to yourself. You need to protect yourself, even if it means distancing yourself from them." His words hit me with the force of a revelation. I deserved to be treated with respect. I didn't have to play their game anymore. "You're right," I said, my voice stronger now. "I'm done trying to please them." "Good," Jake said. "Now what are you going to do about it?" I didn't have an answer yet, but for the first time I felt a sense of clarity, of resolve. The guilt was still there, a dull ache in my chest, but it was overshadowed by a newfound sense of purpose. That's when I knew I had to talk to Sarah. Not to apologize, not to beg for forgiveness, but to finally, honestly tell her how I felt. 2 days before the wedding, a text from Sarah, just 3 words: "We need to talk." My breath hitched. This was it. The final showdown. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to disappear into the anonymity of the city, but I knew I couldn't. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about Sarah, about our family, about the years of unspoken tension that had finally reached a breaking point. I stared at my phone, my thumb hovering over the call button. A wave of dizziness washed over me. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. I pictured Sarah, her face a mask of hurt and anger. The thought of confronting her, of potentially destroying our relationship forever, made my stomach churn. Then I remembered Jake's words. I needed to protect myself. I couldn't keep letting them run over me. Another memory surfaced, Mom's voice laced with disappointment. "You need to think about what's best for the family, Daniel, not just yourself." Something inside me snapped. A tiny but significant break. I felt a strange sense of calm settle over me, like the eye of a storm. My shoulders straightened. My hands stopped trembling. I dialed Sarah's number. "Daniel." Her voice was wary, guarded. "Sarah, I need to see you." "I don't know about that, Daniel. I'm getting married in 2 days." "I know," I said, my voice steady. "That's why I need to see you now, before it's too late." The other end was silent. My pulse quickened. I waited. "Okay," she finally said. "Come to my apartment tomorrow at noon." She hung up. I stood there, phone still pressed to my ear, a mix of fear and resolve churning within me. I knew this could be the end. The end of my relationship with Sarah, the end of my place in the family, but I couldn't back down now. I looked in the mirror. The man staring back at me was different, still scared, still uncertain, but determined. I would not be dismissed. I would be heard. I took a deep breath. The air filled my lungs, invigorating me. "No more, I'm done. I am going to speak my truth." The call ended. Noon tomorrow, I needed a plan. First, information. Rummaging through old emails, I unearthed the thread from Sarah complaining about Brad's controlling behavior before the engagement. Screenshots of his demanding texts, her venting about his expectations. Evidence I'd subconsciously filed away knowing something was off. Next, Jake. He'd understand. Hey, you free to talk? Sarah agreed to meet. Whoa, okay, deep breaths, what's the plan? His voice was instantly alert. No plan exactly, except to be honest. I found old emails where Sarah was complaining about Brad before the engagement. It just confirms my suspicions. Okay, good, so you have proof you aren't crazy, but Daniel, tread carefully. This could backfire spectacularly. She could shut down completely. I know, I'm terrified. Anxiety gnawed at my resolve. Would she even listen? Would she just dismiss me as jealous and bitter? The family's reaction, it was a minefield. Remember what we talked about, Daniel. You're doing this for yourself to say your piece. Sarah needs to hear it even if she doesn't want to. What if I lose her forever? The words tumbled out, raw and vulnerable. That's a risk you have to take. But if she's truly your sister, she'll at least respect you for being honest. He paused. Don't go in there looking for her approval. Go in there to say what needs to be said. Got it. Thanks, Jake. Really. Anytime, man. I'm here if you need me. And remember, you're not the elephant. After talking with Jake, I thought about my financial situation. I grabbed my laptop and pulled up my bank accounts. I need to make sure I can survive on my own. My heart sunk at the number. I will need to get a job. I will need to get more clients. I started applying for more projects. I spent the evening practicing responses. Sarah, I'm worried about you. I've seen how Brad manipulates you. I'm not jealous, I'm scared. I'm also scared of you, I thought. More calmly, Sarah, I know you're happy, but I need you to know how I feel. I feel excluded. I feel like I don't matter. Physical preparation, clean clothes, shower, deep breaths. I needed to project calm even if I was a mess inside. Finally, a safe place. I texted my friend Maria, big talk with Sarah tomorrow, might need a place to crash if things go south. Her response was immediate. Always, dude. My couch is your couch. Wine and bad movies on standby. I got ready to go to bed. Tomorrow I would potentially lose the last member of my family. I took a deep breath. Noon, her apartment, no turning back. As I walked toward her building, I replayed Jake's advice in my head. You're not the elephant, protect yourself. I straightened my shoulders, took another deep breath, and pressed the buzzer. This is it. The apartment was sterile, modern, all grays and whites like a showroom. Sarah opened the door, her eyes red-rimmed. The air hung heavy, thick with unspoken accusations. I stepped inside. Thanks for seeing me, I said, trying to sound calm. She gestured to the kitchen table. Let's just get this over with. She sat ramrod straight. I followed suit. The table felt like a battlefield. I know you're angry, I began. Angry doesn't even begin to cover it, Daniel. You humiliated me. In front of everyone. I didn't want to humiliate you, Sarah. I was hurt. I felt excluded, like I didn't matter. Oh, here we go again. The world revolves around Daniel. She rolled her eyes. Can't you just be happy for me for once? Happy? You want me to be happy when you're marrying a guy who treats you like a possession, who dictates every aspect of your life? Her face flushed. That's not true. Brad loves me. He just wants what's best for me. I pulled out my phone. Remember these emails, Sarah? Before you got engaged, you were miserable, complaining about his control, his demands. I slid the phone across the table. She stared at the screen, her expression shifting from anger to confusion. Where did you get these? They're from your old account, Sarah. I think they speak for themselves. She looked up, her eyes pleading. That was different. Things have changed. Have they, Sarah, or have you just convinced yourself they have? Stop it, Daniel. You don't know anything about my relationship. Her voice was rising. I know he isolates you. I know he pressures you. I've seen it, Sarah. You used to be so independent. He's just protective. He cares about me. Protective or controlling. There's a difference, Sarah. I leaned forward. Look, I'm not trying to ruin your wedding. I'm scared for you. I don't want to see you trapped in a relationship that makes you miserable. This isn't about Brad, she snapped. This is about you. You've always been jealous of me, of my success, of my happiness. That's not true, Sarah. I just want you to be happy, truly happy. I paused. This was the moment. But maybe you're right. Maybe I am jealous. jealous of your ability to just fit in, to play the game, to be the golden child. Her eyes narrowed. So this is about mom and dad, about them favoring me. It's about that, yes, but it's also about you, about the choices you're making, about the way you treat me like I'm some kind of embarrassment. I don't treat you like that. Really. Then why wasn't I invited to the engagement party? Why am I always the last to know? Why do you always take Brad's side even when he's clearly in the wrong? Her face crumpled. Because it's easier, because he's important, because I need to make him happy. And what about your happiness, Sarah? Does that even matter? She looked away, tears welling in her eyes. I don't know anymore. Sarah, listen to me. This isn't about Brad. This isn't about mom and dad. This is about control, and you've lost it. I stood up. Where are you going? Her voice was small, lost. I can't do this anymore, Sarah. I can't keep sacrificing my well-being for your comfort. Those tactics don't work on me anymore. Don't leave, Daniel, please. A tear rolled down her cheek. I paused, my hand on the doorknob. I'm not asking you to call off the wedding. I know you won't, but I'm telling you this ends now. I'm done being the family punching bag. I'm done being the invisible brother. I took a step towards the door. What do you want from me? She pleaded. I turned back. I want you to see me, Sarah, really see me, not as the screw-up brother, not as the black sheep, but as your brother, someone who cares about you even if you don't want me to. I hesitated, then reached into my pocket. I pulled out the invitation to the wedding, crumpled and torn. I'm not going. Her eyes widened. Daniel, I can't watch you walk down that aisle knowing what I know. It would kill me. I laid the invitation on the table, a final act of defiance, a clear, firm boundary. Then what do you want from me, Daniel? I want you to admit that you're scared, I said, my voice softer now. I want you to admit that you're not sure about this. I want you to admit that maybe, just maybe, I'm right. She stared at me, tears streaming down her face. For a moment, I thought she was going to break down, to confess everything. But then her eyes hardened. Get out, Daniel, she said, her voice cold. I nodded. Okay. I turned and walked to the door. Daniel, she called after me. I stopped, but didn't turn around. Don't expect me to forgive you for this. I took a deep breath. I'm not asking you to. Then I walked out. The door clicked shut behind me. I leaned against the hallway wall, the sterile paint cold against my back. My legs trembled. The adrenaline that had fueled me during the confrontation began to dissipate, leaving me weak and shaky. I closed my eyes, willing myself not to cry. I had said my piece. I had drawn my line in the sand. Now all that was left was the fallout. I pulled out my phone and texted Maria, code red, need wine and bad movies. Her response was immediate, on my way. As I waited for Maria, I replayed the conversation in my head. Had I been too harsh, too accusatory? Had I pushed Sarah too far? Doubt gnawed at me. Maybe I had ruined everything. Maybe I had lost her forever. But then I remembered the look on her face when I walked out. The flicker of doubt, the vulnerability behind the anger. Maybe, just maybe, I had planted a seed. A seed of truth that would eventually blossom into something real. Maria arrived, a bottle of wine and a stack of DVDs in hand. Her presence was a balm to my wounded soul. We spent the rest of the day on her couch, drinking wine, watching terrible movies, and talking. She listened patiently as I recounted the entire story, offering words of encouragement and validation. That night I slept on Maria's couch, exhausted but strangely at peace. I had done what I needed to do. I had protected myself, and that was enough. It's been 3 months since that day. The wedding came and went. I wasn't invited. I spent the day hiking in the mountains, surrounded by nature, far away from the drama and the expectations. The immediate aftermath was chaotic. My phone blew up with calls and texts from my parents, my step-parents, even Brad. I ignored them all. They all sent long messages with Sarah's comments in them. I needed space. I needed time to process everything. Sarah didn't reach out. Slowly things began to settle down. The calls became less frequent, the texts dwindled. The family, as they always did, moved on, except something had shifted. My relationship with Sarah remained strained. We text occasionally, mostly about superficial things. She never mentions Brad, she never apologizes, but she also doesn't try to manipulate me. My parents are a mixed bag. My mom still tries to guilt me into participating in family events, but I've learned to stand my ground. My dad, surprisingly, has been more understanding. He even admitted during a rare moment of honesty that he's always felt a little stifled by the family's expectations. David and Carol, still condescending, still dismissive. I've learned to avoid them. Jake has been a constant source of support. We talk regularly, sharing our frustrations and offering each other encouragement. He's become my unexpected ally, the one person in the family who truly understands. I've also started therapy. It's helped me to unpack years of resentment and self-doubt. I'm learning to set boundaries, to prioritize my own needs, and to let go of the need for my family's approval. I finally landed a new job as the senior graphic designer for a local agency. The benefits are amazing. The salary is more than I could have imagined. I finally feel like I am good enough. There are still moments when I doubt myself, when I wonder if I made the right decision, when I miss the closeness I once shared with Sarah. But then I remember the look on her face when I walked out of her apartment. The fear, the uncertainty, and I know that I did the right thing. I protected myself. I've learned that family doesn't have to be defined by blood. It can be found in the people who support you, who validate you, who love you for who you are, not for who they want you to be. I've grown from the experience. I'm stronger, more confident, more self-aware. I'm no longer the black sheep, the invisible brother. I am Daniel, and I am enough. Compared to before, I am so much better. I feel like I can finally breathe and not have to be someone I'm not. So, tell me, has anyone else experienced something similar? How did you cope? And how do you navigate family dynamics when some members refuse to change?